It's very much real. It's very like modern, contemporary, like no fantasy, magic or any of that stuff. It's just what you'd expect in real life, except not. In the sense that you wouldn't expect 4 billionaires that of course are cute because, you know, it's an Otome game, to rescue you from... Hello everyone, it's Luli, and today I'll be talking about an Otome game called Kings of Paradise. It's by Voltage. It's available on both mobile and Switch, so quite accessible to everyone. I'll be doing a review video talking about the plot and the characters and how I felt about it. But before I start, if you like Otome games, if you like visual novels, and if you just like fangirling over cute characters, then you've come to the right place because I upload once weekly and I promise I won't disappoint. It's always fun. So yeah, consider clicking that subscribe button and bell button so you get all notifications. But anyway, let me start. So this game actually starts pretty angsty, if I'm to be completely honest. Like, oh my dear lord. I'm kind of glad that it was all done at the beginning and not so much towards the end, because I'm really not a fan of angst. I don't mind emotional games, I don't mind, but angst, I just, oh, it drives my heart crazy because I feel so sorry for the main character. But yeah, so it starts off with this woman who's 29, so kind of close to my age, which I felt was very relatable. But it starts with her being a housewife, and you know, she's basically devoting her everything to her husband, Tomohiro. And it's kind of painful to see, really. You're kind of going, oh, because you know, they haven't like seen each other in a while. He rarely comes back home for dinner. And in all fairness, like, I think I would have thought it's very suspicious already by this point. But anyway, one day she's at her friend's apartment. Her friend married rich, I believe, so she's living in this luxurious apartment, and they kind of were talking when, I can't remember, I think she bumps into one of them or something, but there are these like 4 characters that are 4 basically love interests who are extremely rich. Now we're talking billionaire rich, if you know what I mean. And so it gives very much like hana yori dango, or dango before flower, boys before flowers, I think is the English name of this J-drama slash manga anime. It really gives that vibe of. But yeah, so these 4 rich guys invite her to this party, and she's like, okay, I'm not sure, but okay. And she takes, you know, accepts the invitation. And then so she goes with a friend. She actually, this is the thing, she actually invites her husband to go with her because the +1 is allowed. So, you know, but he's like, oh, I'm gonna be away on a work trip that night, so I can't come along. And then, you know, it's awkward because she goes to this party and then she sees her husband walk in with this woman talking about a hot spring trip that they recently went on. Oh my gosh, I'm not gonna lie, when that happened I was like, I knew he was gonna have an affair, but the way she found out was just so, oh, bless her. But anyway, now of course these 4 rich guys kind of witness this and realize this, and then take her away to get do a full-on makeover so that she comes out glamorous and beautiful. Yes, I was like, go 4 rich guys, you can, you know, this is great. I thank you so much, in the place of main character. Anyway, she comes out looking really pretty, and of course like that whole, well, you missed out kind of feel is apparent. And then it ends up where she doesn't have a job, but she divorces him, like, you know, her husband and now ex-husband, and then ends up being taken to the rooftop of this luxurious apartment, which only allows the 4 rich guys to hang out. So it's always basically monopolized by these 4 billionaires. And the story starts basically from where she ends up falling into the swimming pool and almost drowning because she can't swim. And then of course that's when the character selection bit occurs, where you pick which character you want, and then that character is of course the one that rescues you from drowning. Now it all sounds very lovely with this whole Prince Charming feel going on, but let's just say that all of them offer to hire her, but like as a housekeeper, aka her doing housework and stuff, plus one extra like a job type thing on the side on top of like the housekeeping. And you know, each guy has a different reason they want her as a housekeeper. And can I just say, some of them I'm just like, what is this? You know? And yeah, the don't get me wrong, it's not necessarily dodgy, it's just more like, of course there's a catch, if you know what I mean. There needed to be a catch for this J-drama like Otome game, and I really enjoyed it, to be honest. But anyway, let me go through each of the characters. So you have Taki, you have Shun, you have Kiyohito, and you have Yosuke. And they're these 4 characters. I won't go into detail on the plots because this is a spoiler-free review. I'll talk about Taki first. So Taki is like the main guy. He's, I think he was kind of maybe my 3rd favorite, I think. He's a kudere, I would say. They kind of have a past actually, which is interesting. It's very apparent from the beginning, so I don't think that's too much of a spoiler. But he seems very cold, you know, and I think I found him a little bit boring to begin with, to be completely honest. I was just a bit like, I don't know, you're just like, you're so quiet. And I know some people like that, so I'm not dissing him. I'm just saying he wasn't for me because he was very cold, he was very like quiet, he didn't say much, and yeah, I guess your typical kudere. So if you like kuderes, he's perfect. But I think he does a lot of property stuff, and he is like super rich, as are all of them, but he manages property and things, and he's what you get, like he's a classic cliche kudere really. So yeah, if you're into that, perfect. Now Shun is the classic playboy. Bearing in mind, you know, there's quite a few stereotypes in this. It is a mobile game, so it's relatively simple. Now Shun is the playboy. He really doesn't want to be in a serious relationship with any girl, so he gives off that feel. He's the director, a really famous director of a movie. And look, see, I really want to tell you what this extra job on top of the housework is, but I don't want to ruin it. I know you find out right at the beginning of their roots, but I think it's more fun if you find out for yourself, so I'm not going to say it. But yeah, he's a playboy. He's probably one of the more friendly ones out of the 4. Like, he's very easy to talk to, and you know, but he is the type that always has like a girl, you know, holding his arm type of thing, because he's such a playboy. But he has an interesting past actually, as a lot of playboys do. So if you're into that, perfect. Oh, and bear in mind, I didn't feel like any of these roots really had too much angst in them. Like, I didn't feel nervous, uncomfortable. I think there were a couple of moments where I was unsure, but it wasn't like an entire, you know, it didn't hurt my heart. I wasn't heartbroken or anything. The angst came maybe from a misunderstanding or something little that happened, and things like that. Also note that 2 of the 4 roots had kind of like almost a triangle thing going on, where another guy would end up liking the MC, and I love that sort of thing, so I adored that, to be honest. I love seeing a guy get jealous. It makes me laugh. Not in real, but in the Otome world, I think jealousy is the best thing, so I was very happy about that. But yeah, Shun is a playboy, and with an interesting past, and if that's kind of what you're into, then you know, he's the character for you. Now Kiyohito was probably my least favorite out of all of them, to be honest, because I don't know, I found him a bit, he was kind of boring. I know that sounds really harsh, but don't get me wrong, I thought the story was decent, but out of all of them, he was not my cup of tea. He's also a bit of a kudere mixed with tsundere maybe. He is famous for being a great fashion model, and he really works his butt off to look, you know, perfect. And of course the story does involve the main character being taken to Paris to see like a catwalk or something. But yeah, so he's what you would expect a model to be in an Otome game. As I said, this is a mobile game, it's simple, it's short, the cliches are all there, like the stereotypes are all there. So you play it if you're happy with that, you know. And yeah, he's a typical model. He's not a player though. I feel like he was one of those characters that didn't let people into their sort of personal lives. They were very standoffish. He wasn't like full-on kudere, but he didn't really let people into his life, and therefore like gradually, you know, sort of hitting his little stone wall with a hammer was very satisfying when he finally accepts you and you're like, yes, I've got that. But yeah, so as I said, cliche, but it was fun, but he wasn't my favourite. Now the fourth one, and my favourite out of all of them, and it's funny because I didn't expect him to be my favourite, was Yosuke. Now he's very friendly, he's a nice guy. I picked him because I was like, he just seems like a nice guy, and you know, I'm not really into that. So it's like in real it's a different story, but in the Otome world I like sort of the quirky different characters. So I thought, oh, he just looks like a nice guy that the main character is gonna get along to, because he's the one that when the main character like bumped into him or whatever it was happened at the beginning, he's the one that gave her an invite to go to this famous party. But yeah, he has that Prince Charming vibe going on. And then she signs the contract and he's interesting. He's more interesting than I had expected. I honestly thought it would be a very bland route of they just, you know, live together and they get along and then they live happily ever after. Like, that is what I expected, but it was different from that, and I really found the changing his character interesting, like, you know, how his personality developed through the route. And yeah, so he became my favourite out of the 4 characters that appeared. So that's talking about the characters. Now the system, it's a fairly short game. So one of my friends in the Discord, you know, when she first joined, I was talking about Voltage games. She was like, she sees them as junk food Otome games, where if you're bored you pick one up and it's a casual read, you know, because there isn't any voice acting. They're all fairly sweet and short, and yeah, you get through them really quickly, and it's like a nice fun route, and there's a lot of like juiciness to it. I always think it's almost like watching a K-drama or a J-drama or something, where there's this ridiculous situation, you're like, what is going on? But it's all great fun, and I think it's okay. As my friend said, junk food Otome game, and I completely agree. It's nice and easy, it's fun. But remember, there's no voice acting, the music is relatively repetitive, and the characters don't look particularly distinct. They look quite like, I always think they look a bit like NPCs in a game. Their designs aren't particularly intricate, like, you know, games like Olympia Soiree or Amnesia, where the characters look very, you know, unique. These Voltage games, often the characters look quite similar, just with different hairstyles maybe. Yeah, still good fun. And overall I would probably give it like, it's a bit unfair to compare it to full-on console games, right? I'd probably give it like, quality-wise, I would probably give it like a 2 out of 5, right? But if I were to judge it by how much enjoyment I got out of it, I'd probably give it a 3 out of 5, or maybe even a 3.5, because I did kind of binge through every single route because I was like, what is going on? And I suppose it's suitable for those who want something a little bit more mature, because she is like 20, whatever. Now, there aren't many CGs. I think by the end of the main story, you had about 5. Note that you then have like POV routes and special routes where, you know, because I played the main story so far, but if you enjoy the main story, you can play all the other extra bits. Like POV routes are routes where you read the whole story again, but from the love interest perspective, which is really interesting. And you've got like not prologues, you've got like epilogues and special routes where you see like the two together like develop as a couple and stuff. And I think those little details aren't something you get very often in a game, like a big game, because a big game they put so much effort and energy and hours into like the whole story that it would be, you need a fan disc for there to be any extra content. But because Voltage games are quite short and sweet, they can add like bits of content afterwards, which I think is kind of a positive thing about all of those games. But yeah, so unfortunately there isn't voice acting. There aren't really that many CGs, at least in the main story anyway. But the story is fun. I find them fun. Now, who would I and would I not recommend it to? I would recommend it to those who want something more mature. Some of the scenes are very like passionate, where you sort of where they're kind of like making out, and you know, I think if you're looking for something like that, then it is good. If you want like gossip drama, something like, if you enjoy Korean dramas and things, then this will probably be quite fun for you. I also recommend it to those who don't really care about like the quality of music or like the voice acting or how many CGs. You're just happy to read something that, you know, makes you go, if you know what I mean, and just enjoy that process. Because you do get that out of it. I got a good kick out of it in terms of it. It's like watching a reality TV show, but better. Because reality TV show, there are lots of boring bits. But with this game, it's just constant drama and ridiculousness. And I think that's great. I would also recommend it to those who want something short and sweet. So, you know, sometimes you don't have the time to go through a long game that's loads of hours, but you still want to have that satisfaction of finishing a route, in which case this game is perfect, because you know each route finishes quite quickly. And yeah, it's a great game for wanting to play in little chunks and then like finish the game quite quickly. Now, I would not recommend it to those who are art snobs, music snobs, voice acting snobs. I know there are many of you out there. Because yeah, well, there's no voice acting. The CGs are very simple. Like, you see what the couple's doing, and like whether it be holding hands or whether the guy's like drinking coffee or something, they're very simple. You don't have like these marvelous backgrounds or like anything like that. I'd say it is definitely something you read for the story, not so much to look at the visuals or listen to grand music or have VAs. Like, it's not like that. It is very much, you want gossip stories, great, read this game type of thing. I would also not recommend it to those who want long hours. You want like loads of content, because as I said, it is short and sweet. And I would not recommend it to those who want something a bit more pure or like high school based or anything fantasy. This game is very much a contemporary game where you are a older, mature woman as a divorcee going through life. As I said, I felt very relatable. Like, I felt it was so relatable, not because I've been divorced or anything like that. I haven't been married yet, so I'm not a divorcee, but obviously the way I think is more mature than if the characters that appear in a high school setting, and the guys are a bit more appealing because they're, you know, more mature. And yeah, the life experiences that they have, it's kind of like, it's a lot more than in high school, where most of your life, big things that happen is basically during school, you know. So I would not recommend it if you're looking for something pure or something fantasy. It's very much real. It's very like modern, contemporary, like no fantasy, magic or any of that stuff. It's just what you'd expect in real life, except not in the sense that you wouldn't expect 4 billionaires that of course are cute because, you know, it's an Otome game, to rescue you from being a divorcee that has no money at the moment because you have no job prospects. Like, that doesn't happen. But the other bits of being a mature woman and having to live life and all of that is relatable. So yeah, as I said, if you're looking for something pure, I would not buy this game. Now, I think that's where I'll end this video. I think, would I buy it for full price? Potentially not, but Voltage does do a lot of sales on eStore, so I buy Voltage games when they go on like 50% off sales or whatever. Kings of Paradise does not go on sale very often, but I did buy it on sale, so it does happen. It's just a bit rarer than the other titles, which I will mention in another video. But yeah, so I don't know whether I would pay full price unless I run out of other Otome games to buy, if you know what I mean, because they're fun to read, but they're very, yeah, junk food read, you know? But yeah, so that's my overall thoughts. Hopefully it helped. As always, thank you very much for watching. Remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the content, and hopefully I'll see you in another one of my videos. Bye!